And so the thought and that what you hear a lot of is we should demonetize these people or they should be kicked off the platform. I understand where people are coming from with that argument, and this might make people upset. Do I agree with that? Alrighty, guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Before we get into the video, I would love to have you join. See these lovely people spamming the be kind emote in the stream? You know what they're saying? We would love to have you here. So if you'd love to join these lovely people here on the side of the stream, we would love to have you. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come and join us. It's totally free. Also, if you are watching this the day that this video comes out, this shirt will be coming out tomorrow. Or if you're watching this any other day than the actual day it comes out, these will be live. So these are the calorie deficit shirts for the spooky season. They go up to a size 5XL, and they ship all around the world. So we would love to have you join us and maybe wear some merch. You could be part of the, it's not a cult, I swear. All right, so what we are going to be talking about today, many people have asked me to speak about this, and I've been a little bit hesitant, but we're going to talk about it today. I think now is a good time. Now, we are going to be talking about the YouTuber Nikocado Avocado. I've talked about him in the past, and there's a lot. The video that we go over today that we'll be going over will kind of share a lot about his content, so we're not going to go into it too much. But before we get into it, I do have to say something. This is important. A lot of you guys watching this will have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's important in case Nick does make a video about this video or does talk about this, alrighty? So me and Nick have actually had some stuff go on in behind the scenes on YouTube. We've had some issues that I think are resolved. But with that being said, the reason I am not bringing that stuff up right now is because I don't want to, poison the well of this video. I want to focus on the videos and not bring up our past that we have. But I do want to say if Nick does end up bringing up that stuff, I don't mind talking about it. I just didn't want to bring it up in this video. So I know that might not make any sense, but it's just something I want to say for Nick if you do end up watching this video, all right? So we are going to be talking about Charlie or Moist Critical. He made a video all about Nick, and Nick actually made a response to this video as well. So we are not going to be going over both of the videos because it would be a lot of content. So we're actually going to be going over Charlie's video, or Moist Critical, which is titled "This YouTuber is Slowly Himself for Views." You can read the title if you'd like. And then, so that video is 9 minutes and 30 seconds. I just want to say I have watched Nick's response, but we are going to bring that over. That video is my response to Penguin Zero's video about me. And that video is 41 minutes long. So we're not going to be going over this video. We're going to be going over the original video. And I am also going to be sharing my thoughts and kind of going over Nick's responses and then sharing what I think about those things, okay? So I'm sorry, this has been a very long intro, but I just kind of wanted to get all that stuff out before we started the video. But without further ado, let's watch this video.
How far would you go for some updates on the internet? How badly do you want to suckle from that juicy teat of internet clout? I've actually started quite a few videos with that exact same question. It seems that today the most important thing to people is the numbers on the screen. Bigger number, better person. Everyone's so desperate to squeeze as much milk as possible from those beautiful honkers of internet.
So if you guys don't know Charlie or Moist Critical, he's a little different. But I do want to say, like, it's interesting because I understand what this is like. I understand what it's like to, because the reality of YouTube is the more video views you get, the more money you make. That's just how it works, right? That means the more ad revenue you make. And so Nick's response to this, and which is a fair response, was, well, you're making a video about me and this video is getting a lot of views, so therefore you are also kind of doing the same thing. And to that, I'm like, that's a fair point, because I do the same thing. That's what I'm doing here. Will this video probably get more views than a lot of my other videos? Yeah, probably. That's just how it is. That's a fact, right? And so that's just something that, you know, I understand that for sure. But at the same time, like, that is the game, right? To say just because someone else is doing the same thing doesn't mean that it's no longer criticism, because of course Nick, with the titles that he has, the thumbnails that he has, he knows what he is doing, and I'm sure that he would, and I think he even does admit that he doesn't mind being like, yeah, I do that. I don't mind doing that, right? So, you know.
Internet points, and no price is too high. We've seen some wacky, goofy shit recently for those internet points. You remember those dudes that went to jail for 3 years on TikTok because they were filming a stop the train prank where they just sit on the train tracks and hope the train stops in time before they get brutally fucking blasted by it? And then...
That's insane to me. Like, I'm glad that they are in jail. Like,
it actually did stop and then they went to jail. We also recently saw that kid play the fake robbery prank on some strangers and he got shot and died for it. His last words were quite literally, "Just a prank, bro." At least according to a few sources, that was an extremely sad one. So we've seen some crazy shit. People really will do anything for some internet fame.
And this is 100% true. It's sad, but it's true. Because at the end of the day, if you can get a lot of eyes on you, right? I know the video is kind of dark. I understand. It gets a little bit, it's not all this dark. But if you can get eyes on you, you can monetize that, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. So people are willing to do things that will put themselves in harm, right? That will hurt themselves. Sadly, sometimes will hurt others. But this has been going on forever, right? Like, I'm not saying this is a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing at all. But if you think about the old TV shows, I'm sure a lot of us used to watch back in the day, Jackass, that was literally all about hurting yourselves to make money. Like, this has been something, Daredevils, all of this stuff has been around. I think just with the internet and with YouTube, it's so many other things now, right? And part of that is eating a lot of food. And that's part of it as well, you know?
And today I want to talk about a pretty special case. It's someone that I'm sure you've heard of. I've talked about him before. A lot of people have. He's been a big name on YouTube for a while. His name's Nikocado Avocado. If you're on Twitter, you've probably seen his asshole floating around pretty often. For some reason, it was a big trend in meme to just post Nikocado Avocado's OnlyFans content all over Twitter. So I've seen his butthole more times than I've seen him doing his mukbangs. For those that don't know, Nikocado Avocado is a mukbang YouTuber. It's primarily what he does. Mukbangs are when you just eat on camera, and that's about it. I'm not really here to get into the lore of Nikocado Avocado. There's a ton of videos that do dive into it. I want to talk about what's going on recently with him. In fact...
And I also do want to say that for my video, a lot of people, I can almost guarantee that there are going to be comments of people being upset that I maybe didn't go in hard enough, or I wasn't mean enough, or I wasn't this, or I wasn't that. To that, I will say there's literally hundreds, if not thousands of videos on YouTube that will fill that void if that's something that you want. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to look at it from an outside perspective and try and have the most objective opinion as I possibly can. I just want to make that clear from the jump. Like, this is not a video of me hating on Nick, a video hating on Charlie, the guy that's making this video. This is me just trying to share my opinion, okay? And so I want to make it very clear before we go any further. Don't go to either of these people's channels and, like, comment anything. That's not what we're here for, right? We're here to be here. If you want to leave a comment here, that's fine. You know, you can share your opinion. I want you to do that. But we don't need to be going to other people's channels and, you know, sharing, being mean, or, you know, let's just leave it here, right? That's very important to me.
In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and take my swampy ass out of here for a second and let Nikocado Avocado kind of take it away. This is from his most recent video. This is kind of what his content has become.
So the title of this video is "My New Diet as a Disabled Person." So, like, Nick knows what he's doing. Let's just be real here, okay? He knows what he's doing.
I wouldn't have become disabled if it weren't for you people who encouraged these videos. This is the $6, this is the $10. Ouch! My ribs! How many months are we gonna have to endure this pain? Alright, let's go for this. Ooh. This definitely looks cheesier. This one. And I'm allergic to this one too.
So, this, obviously, to blame your community is just kind of like that's not a nice thing to do, right? But, okay, so this is kind of where I want to share my opinion with Nick and his content. So I've talked about this before in the past. The way that I feel about him is the way that I feel about almost like a professional wrestler, right? Like, it's all a show. It's an act. He's an actor. I see him as someone that is acting on camera right now, right? Do I think this is good? Do I think this is okay? Would I do it myself? No. But do I see this and think this is definitely how Nick is in everyday life? Probably not. I see this as someone who knows what will get views, who knows what will get clicks, and therefore knows what will make money on his YouTube channel, and that is what he is doing. Would I do it myself? Do I condone it? No, not at all. But when people take him 100% seriously and say everything that he is doing, he means it, and I almost laugh at it because in my head, it's so obvious that this is all an act. Like, obviously, he is eating the food, he is gaining the weight, which we will get into, but everything that he is doing, do I think it's all real? No. Right? That's how I feel about it as an overarching kind of thing, okay? There's more that we'll get into, but yeah.
Oh. But sometimes in life, you just want what you can't have. I'm not allowed to have garlic. Or lots of onions, or durian.
Now, to anyone that's familiar with this creator, you'll probably think that this is nothing special. This just looks like every other video he's ever made, just with less crying. You've probably even seen Nikocado Avocado around other parts of the internet. If you don't even know who he is, you've probably seen some of his clips. He usually will eat something and then just start breaking down into tears and crying about something. He's notorious for constantly crying. So then why...
That's definitely something that he does quite a bit in his videos. Like, let's be real.
Why did I decide this video and these clips to show you? Well, as you can tell from the title of that video, he now claims to be a disabled person, which...
So with that, I know I kind of skipped over that. That's not cool. Like, I can understand having a problem with that because that's not... One, even if you are, like, disabled for a certain period of time, Nick's whole problem here was that he's not saying that he is, like, disabled like he was born this way. It's because he currently has issues and he's disabled for a certain period of time. Even if that is the case... I think that that's messed up and that's a little sleazy to do, right? I can understand that argument and that criticism 100%.
Which I'll get into in a minute, but I want to focus on what he said at the beginning, outside of making some of the most revolting noises I've heard in quite some time while undergoing some kind of exorcism. He said, it's your fault for encouraging these videos. Now, he says shit like this pretty often. And it shows me that there's still some self-awareness deep within him somewhere, locked deep away. But that rational side of him, he keeps buried, locked in a cage, and still does this content, even knowing better, even knowing that it's a complete detriment to his overall health and well-being. He continues to do it while still having that small glimmer of self-awareness. He says it's your fault for encouraging it, and he's absolutely right. Nikocado Avocado didn't start as this kind of channel.
Okay, so before we go further, this is an argument that I hear a lot, and I kind of want to break this down. This is really important, and I think integral to the video. A lot of people say that because of what Nick is doing, or other people like him, a lot of people will bring up him and like Amberlynn Reed, and then on the opposite side of the spectrum, they'll bring up Eugene Acuni, right? These people that are either really large or they are showing themselves gaining weight, whatever, or very, very skinny, they have an issue with that being on the platform, right? And so the thought, and that what you hear a lot of, is we should demonetize these people or they should be kicked off the platform. I understand where people are coming from with that argument, and this might make people upset. Do I agree with that? I don't. Like, do I think that what Nick is doing, what Amberlynn Reed is doing, what Eugene is doing is good for them? No. Would I recommend that they don't do it? Yes, of course. But just because I disagree with what they are doing, do I think they should be kicked off of the platform? I just don't. I don't think that it's smart to give YouTube that power, and I don't think YouTube themselves would even want that power of deciding who is allowed to make certain types of content. Like, if you're over a certain amount of poundage, you're not allowed to make mukbangs, right? Like, would YouTube really want to go down that road? I really doubt it. So would the answer be no mukbangs on YouTube at all? Maybe. Is that something they want to do? They're definitely going to lose money, and there are going to be a lot of people caught in the crossfire that have no weight issues, that are just literally doing mukbangs, because mukbangs definitely did not start as this whole spectacle that they are now, right? They started off very, very chill. And so is it fair for them to lose everything they've built because of a few bad actors, right? So I know that there are a lot of people that are going to disagree with what I'm saying. Again, just because I'm saying they shouldn't be kicked off or lose everything, am I saying that I agree with what they're doing and I condone it? No, but I don't think that they should lose everything, and everyone should, like, they should no longer be able to do what they are doing. That's my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but that's how I feel about this. Okay.
Even 4 years ago, 2017, so 4 years ago now, he was a very healthy person. He seemed to be pretty mentally, sound. He wasn't breaking down on camera all the time and going wild and crazy from what I remember. He was even extremely good at an instrument. I think it was the violin, if I remember correctly. He was a vegan. He was just preaching some really positive stuff. But then he started to notice that the videos that gained a lot of traction were videos where he was just fucking gluttonous and eating 1,000,000 calories per sitting. So he stuck with it. And now he has a couple of channels where he does this pretty much every day, and it's been like this for the last 4 or so years. This is what he used to look like in 2017, and then when the videos really started to gain traction, he gained over 200 pounds in the last couple of years.
Okay. So this is where Nick, in his video, has a very, very big problem. He's very upset about this. And I can actually understand where he's coming from. So Charlie shows these pictures of him when he was slimmer, and he was, he says he's vegan, and he was obviously like more healthy then. Now, am I saying that where Nick is right now is a healthy place? Definitely not. But I do understand being frustrated. And I know people are probably gonna be like, "You're ridiculous. I can't believe you would even make that argument." But I don't know. It's how I see things. I can 100% understand being frustrated because we don't know what Nick was doing to stay that slim. Like, if he was healthy, if he had health issues. Like, Nick says that he lost a tooth because he was vegan and was having deficiencies and stuff. I'm not going to get into all that. I don't know if that's true or not. But, like, you definitely, just because you are slimmer, that does not always equal that you are healthier. So I can understand being frustrated with that. But at the same time, gaining 200 pounds in such a short period of time, that's obviously not healthy and not something that I would recommend to anybody do. I want to make that very clear. I'm not saying that I think he's healthier then or now. I honestly don't know. But I can understand being frustrated with that notion. That's all I'm trying to say there.
And it's absolutely true. It's the audience's fault for this. They created what Nikocado Avocado has become. Obviously, it's not all their fault. He is making the conscious decisions to completely throw away his health and well-being, which has now led to his disability, which he claims to have. Again, Nikocado Avocado is not the most reliable narrator. He makes a lot of shit up sometimes. So whether or not he actually now has a disability, it's anyone's guess. He claims to have 3 broken ribs, which is attributed to his incredible weight gain. Incredible being the wrong word, really just astonishingly upsetting weight gain that he's been putting.
So, again, Nick's issue here is that he's saying that he didn't break his ribs because of his weight gain. He broke his ribs because he's been sick and he's been coughing a lot, which apparently happens to people. So, again, I'm not really going to get into all of that, but just full transparency, that's something that Nick had an issue with in his video, saying that it's not because he gained weight, it's because he's been coughing because he's sick.
Putting on recently, he claims that the weight of his body has now broken a few of his ribs, which now has him bedridden. I think he also claimed to now have to have a full-time nurse in order for him to just engage in day-to-day activities. And he also has been diagnosed with sleep apnea, I believe, which is why you'll see on his most recent thumbnails, he has like that machine hooked up to his nose that makes him look like some kind of like cyborg from the future or something.
So let's look at these titles, first of all. My new diet as a disabled person, my new diet as a disabled person, my new diet as a disabled person, my new life as a disabled person. I'm disabled. My diagnosis has arrived, right? So, like, this is wild. I've never really like been someone that watched a lot of Nick's videos. It's very interesting. It's very different from, you know, stuff that I've made, but again, it's working, right? Like, these videos are doing pretty well. Like, let's be real, right? If someone is looking at this, all of these videos do much better than my videos do. Like, let's be real, right? These all have way more views than any of my videos get. That's what people want to see. That's what they are watching. Whether or not they like him or they hate watching him or whatever, like, they are watching this content. There are people that are watching this content. And so, you know, what Charlie's saying there is it's partly your fault, right? Kind of. It's kind of harsh to say it that way, but it's not even, it's just it's the way that we are now, I hate to use the word society, but the way that YouTube is, all of this stuff, it's just how it is. If you can get views on something and you can continue doing that and it works, why would you not continue to do that, right? Why would you not? Now, Nick had an issue with Charlie saying that he got sleep apnea because of his weight gain. Nick says that he's been diagnosed with sleep apnea for a very long time. I know people personally that are not, you know, morbidly obese or overweight or have a lot of extra weight on them that actually have sleep apnea. So that could definitely be true. He says that he's wearing the CPAP all the time now because it helps him breathe, because he has the hurt rib and he's been coughing a lot. So that's why he's wearing it all the time. But let's be real, a lot of people get sleep apnea because of their weight and they get rid of it once they lose weight. So losing weight would most likely help in this instance. I'm not saying that it would cure it, because maybe he did have it before he gained any of the weight. That's completely fair, and I'm not going to sit here and say he's lying. I don't know. But, you know, just my thoughts on that.
It seems to really be going downhill quickly for him. People have been saying for the last couple of years that Nikocado Avocado is literally killing himself for YouTube views, and it's absolutely true. He is slowly killing himself and documenting the journey the entire time while having an understanding of exactly what he's doing. He's well aware that he is throwing away his health, his well-being, his happiness for the sake of some YouTube views, because his audience continues to eat it up, much like he eats up a million fucking cheeseburgers every couple of days. For almost the last 4 years, almost every day, he has done mukbangs like this, where he's eating 6 pizzas, 8 pizzas. He'll get like fucking McDonald's and he'll order everything off the menu and then ask if they can just tilt the grill over to get a little extra grease in a cup for him to drink on camera. It has been an extremely sad thing to see. He's also been saying for...
So one of the issues that Nick had in his videos, he's saying, like, people act like Charlie here, act like they are concerned. I'm not even saying Charlie is acting like he's concerned. It doesn't really seem, it seems like he's just kind of sharing his thoughts. But a lot of people will act like, oh, I'm so concerned about your health, that's why I'm making this video or whatever. When in reality, when someone makes a video about Nick, that video gets views, right? And so Nick's thing is like, you don't really care about my health. You just care about making a video to get views. And, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's completely wrong, because I can see that 100%. But I think, and I would hope that he would see this, like, when you put yourself out there like that, right? When you put yourself out there and you're making these videos and you're sharing these, you know, very over the top, very ridiculous thumbnails, videos, and it's really ridiculous. Like, of course you're going to get criticism. And so I don't think that you can, like, and I don't even think he tries to avoid all criticism, but, like, just because someone is criticizing you, I don't think that makes them a bad person. I don't think that makes them anything other than just sharing this and being like, yo, this is, you know, a problem. Again, do I think the answer is completely kicking him off the platform? Not necessarily. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is, but yeah.
For a little while now that he's going to be losing some weight. His weight loss journey has begun. But what ends up happening is for every pound he loses, he gains 10 more. I didn't play much of the video here, but he even mentioned that. He even goes on to say after the "your fault" speech that he started his weight loss and he lost a pound but then gained 3 more because he wanted to please his audience with more videos or something like that. So it's just truly a pretty awful thing to see. As you probably...
So for me personally, like, when I see stuff like this, I would love to see Nick succeed in weight loss. Like, There's honestly nothing, and I mean that genuinely. This is how I feel about, like, when I've talked about Amberlynn Reed, when I talk about Nick, even when I talk about Eugenia. Like, I would love to see her gain weight and get to a healthy point. Like, all of that stuff, I would love to see it. And someone in the chat is talking about how he always says that it's just water weight. That Nick always says that it's just water weight. So when I see stuff like that, that's what makes me think, like, how does anybody take this genuinely seriously? Like, a lot of what he says is just a joke. Obviously, gaining that much weight is not all water weight. Like, that's, in my head, when I see that, I'm like, it's so obviously he's just trolling, right? I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
Probably noticed from the screenshot, the last 6 days he's posted a video each day talking about his disability and his new diet with it, and each one he has tons and tons of food from different places, and it's not clickbait. He really eats all of that food. Very rarely does he not finish his plate. He usually finishes it or gets very close to it.
So I do want to say, and I have someone in chat kind of talking about this, if your biggest issue with him, or one of the biggest issues you have with him, is the fact that he's using his disability, whether he has one or not, whether how serious it is or not, as a way to get views, if that's your problem with it, there's nothing I can say to say that, like, I understand that 100%. I think that that's really messed up. Like, I don't think that that's cool. I think that that's really wrong, actually. Like, so I'm not sitting here trying to be like, I'm a fan of Nikocado. I'm just trying to share my opinion. I think that this in particular, what he's been sharing, these titles and thumbnails, like, that's jacked up. If you are someone that has been disabled your entire life, or was born with a disability, or you have one, you will have one for the rest of your life, and you have an issue with that, I have zero to say other than I hear you, and I can totally understand as much as I possibly can, right? And then Nick has another, so again, kind of going over Nick's issues, he has a problem with Charlie saying that he eats everything in the thumbnail, everything in the video. Nick kind of says that he doesn't actually eat all of that. I personally would probably agree, because, like, just being able to eat all of this would be incredibly difficult, and, like, that would be a feat in and of itself. Obviously, he's not eating well, and he is, gaining weight for a reason. Do I think he's eating that much food? Probably not.
Almost nothing goes to waste. It goes right into Nikocado Avocado's guts. And one thing you may have also noticed from that screenshot is his views are high, which is exactly why he does it. Yeah, most of them have more dislikes than likes, but even on the one I showed you, that's still like 4,000 likes. So there are 4,000 people dropping a fat like, leaving an encouraging comment, and he's usually peddling some merch. So the shirts you see him wear, he immediately pins in a comment for you to buy them, and I imagine he sells quite a few shirts. Even the people that get in there just to dislike or just tune in to watch the train wreck, that's more views for him. That's more engagement. That helps him.
This is all true. And I don't think anyone would argue this. Like, regardless of, YouTube doesn't know whether someone's watching you because they like your content or they hate you and they just want to hate watch you. A click is a click is a click is a click, right? That's why people do clickbait. That's why the thumbnail and the title is so important. All of that stuff, like, there's no arguing against that, I think.
And that keeps him on this wagon, keeps him going. So overall, it's just a really shitty cycle. And I tune in occasionally just to see if Nikocado Avocado is making any strides in helping himself, because it seems like he really wants to sometimes, and then he goes right back into going to Chick-fil-A to literally eat fucking food off the floor like David Hasselhoff. Like, it's just really sad. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. He doesn't usually visit the restaurants. He just orders it and then eats it from either his bed or his own, like, table that he sets up for it. When he is out in public, though, he's usually on one of the mobility scooters, and he gets a little crazy out there, because a lot of what his content has become is him making really gross noises and shaking his head around while trying his best to, like, shake his whole body around to really let you know that he's gained a lot of weight, which, I don't know, man. The whole thing is just weird and just sad. And that's all I wanted to talk about. This is just another one of those things where it's like, man, the links people go to for some internet fame, like, it's just upsetting to see. So, I mean, yeah, that's...
So that's the entire video there, and like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say I have the answers, and I'm definitely not trying to make it seem like that, but I think it is a very interesting, like, what is going on with Nick and the content and, like, how things are happening and the issues people have is a very interesting thing. again, in my opinion, do I think YouTube should demonetize his channel or delete it? Not necessarily. I know that YouTube has different things they can do, like really make sure someone's channel is suppressed and stuff. Do I think they should even do that? I don't know. Like, I really don't know, right? Like, there's ways that they can make it so you're not in people's recommended. But from what I've seen, I'm sure there's a lot of people that will go and find these videos, you know, that will go and find this stuff. But again, at the end of the day, do I agree with what is happening here? Definitely not. Do I think that because I disagree with it, it should be completely taken off the internet and he should lose everything? Not necessarily. Those are my thoughts. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine. But all I can share is my opinion.